Today I had a huge realization, thanks to another human, that I've been seeing for a while now. And when I first started seeing them, I felt something was off. And so I trusted that, and I asked my guidance, am I to engage with this person? And I received a no. So I just let them be, and I do my own thing and just live and let live. Yet there's something about this person that I felt this like this friction, this little bit of resistance. And today I finally received the answer. So when I saw them today, and I went into this kind of resistant state, because I knew that it's not going to benefit me to interact with them. That being said, as we've been learning, we can have boundaries without resistance. We don't have to be resistant. That's just kind of this old safety mechanism. Yet we are the ones who choose if we are safe or not. And in reality, our true self, our what we really are, source energy, we are always safe. Yet I felt this kind of constricting feeling around them. And I realized finally what it was. And it was because they are holding hidden anger, is what came to me. You can also think of it as when we suppress anger, this is stored in our body, and we actually walk the earth holding all this anger. And the reason why there was that friction between me and this other human is because I used to be just like that. I had that same program of suppressing anger and holding on to anger. And you may look at me and you may think, how could she be holding on to anger? Well, I was holding on to a lot of anger. And that's why I call it hidden anger. You can't see this. And often these people are very friendly and so you don't know unless you feel it and feel energies. And I realized that literally every person that I've had difficult interactions with in the last many years has all had this hidden anger. And then I realized how I manifested so many awful experiences for myself is because I was holding on to this hidden anger, and I was attracting people with hidden anger throughout my whole life. And yeah, we're not going to get into it because it's really not fun, but you can see how that would play out. Because when someone has hidden anger, they can actually be quite dangerous. They can, this hurt that they feel comes out, and they often hurt others, attack others, without even almost knowing it. So a lot of times, it's just like this unconscious thing. And the other thing that made me realize it was that I noticed that people that have this hidden anger, they cannot reciprocate your love. And by them, I mean their pretend self. We could call it an ego self, although ego is just the structure, and so it's how we use it. So of course we can use the ego for beautiful things, but when the ego is filled with beliefs and programs, then that is how it is operating. So that's what I mean by that. So basically, I noticed that when someone is operating from with hidden anger, no matter how much love you give them, they won't be able to reciprocate. No matter how much gratitude you give them, they won't be able to reciprocate. And of course, this is their false self. Their true self reciprocates in full. Yet, we are living in this earth experience. And so it is wise to notice who is unable to reciprocate, because it just doesn't feel good to be giving and giving and giving and never reciprocating. And maybe they reciprocate in a little bit, but it just doesn't come close to matching what you are giving. And this just doesn't feel good. It's not there's a vibrational difference there. You know, you're operating up here and they're operating down here, and there's nothing wrong with either of those, or nothing wrong with any of it. It's just a difference in frequency and a difference in how healed someone is and what they're holding on to. And so this hidden anger, when I looked at it, I thought, okay, what really is anger? And anger is putting guilt on something. We can be angry at ourselves, put guilt on ourselves. We can be angry at someone else or something and put guilt on that. And what is guilt? It's saying there's something wrong. So either someone's saying there's something wrong with that, or there's something wrong with myself. And this is anger in a nutshell. And so this guilt, it becomes stored in the body. And the more guilt one has in the body, the more the more it'll come out, the more they'll project it out. This often just happens in their mind. Yet when we bring it back, we realize that these people have to believe in guilt, and they feel guilty themselves, or else this whole thing would never happen in the first place. So when someone believes that they are guilty, they will project this guilt onto others to try to balance the scale. And this is all in the mind. This is complete illusion, because guilt is not real. There is nothing wrong. Everything is a learning experience. Everything benefits us. Everything is consented to on a vibrational level for our spiritual growth. And so this illusion of guilt, I see it running so many people's lives, and that was myself included. This belief in something that's not even real, and it comes down to believing in right or wrong. And so there's judgment there as well, because whenever we think something is wrong, we are judging. And what is judgment? Judgment is attack. So attacking ourselves, attacking others. And so this, you can see, is a very low way to live. But because I had lived that, and because on some level that program must still, echoes of it still must be in me, because when I attract these people, I have a feeling that after this realization, a lot is going to change. So I'm super excited. But I also, there's a part of me that sees people like that. I see so much potential, and I have so much compassion, and I want to help them so much, and I want to give them love, and because that's what everyone wants. When anyone has guilt, attack any of is they're all just wanting more love. Every single bit of fear is just a call for love. So there's this huge part of me that just wants to love them. Yet by listening to my intuition, to my guidance, I've learned that I can do that from a distance, and that it doesn't have to be expressed in the physical, meaning that I don't have to engage with them as a human being, yet I can just love them. And that's how this whole realization began, is when I saw that person today and I felt that friction, that just not good feeling, because I knew that it was not good to engage with them, and I didn't want to have that basically give them an opportunity to engage with me. And I had to come inside and I had to say, okay, what are you going to do? Are you going to be in resistance, or are you going to love this person? And I reminded myself that when I am resistance, I just attract what I'm resistant to, which is never fun. And so I decided right then, I said, I'm going to surrender and I'm just going to love them as who they are, accept them and love them, and forget about it. And so I decided I would love them, and then this clarity all came in. And this I see, in my family, and like I said, I used to be like this. And so it's coming back to these basic truths that I have been sharing about, that guilt is not even real. Yet sometimes we do feel anger. We do project guilt onto ourselves or others. And so what do? Do we suppress it because we say, oh, it's not real? No. We let it out. We let it move through our system. And this is the difference, because one who suppresses their anger, this guilt, they are not allowing it to move through their system. They are feeling anger at someone, for example, and then they tell themselves that they're bad, and then it's just more guilt upon guilt. And that adds up, and that actually causes all sorts of ailments in the body, and just, it's not a good place to be. So what do? When we feel anger, we want to feel it out in full. And we can do this just by feeling the waves. For me, often when I get angry, I need to be physical about it. And I think it was yesterday I mentioned punching a pillow. This one works really good for me. I've even thrown my back out doing it. So yeah. But I'm sure you'll be fine. And so this one works for me. Also, one that I've had a lot of success with is driving down the road with the windows rolled up and just screaming as loud as I can, and putting all of that anger energy into the vibrations coming out of my voice. So screaming, yelling, moving it out in whatever way through my voice. So that one really helps. Another one is to swear. And these things, of course, we do them in private, because if we do them in front of these people that we are bringing these emotions up in us, of course, they are not making us angry. We are, that anger is just coming up from within us, and they are just a mirror. They are completely innocent. We are just operating this program. So we move this anger out in private. So just want to make that clear. But if you're in the shower, you can swear and move this out in that way, or somewhere where you're not going to be affecting other humans. And so, yeah, moving this out. And I feel like since I awakened, I've been moving anger out. I had no idea how much anger had built in my system, but it was a lot. And yeah, and these days I don't, like, this morning I thought, okay, why am I still feeling that friction? I don't feel like any anger. But sometimes there's hidden little pockets that we may not be conscious of. So what I can do is I can set the intention that if there's any anger left in my system or any suppressed emotions of fear, that they are released, and that anything that comes up for me to help me do that will. And this often looks like a trigger. So it's learning to also be grateful for the triggers, be grateful for the mirrors, and not put guilt upon them, because that's what most people do in this situation. Is whenever there's a mirror that's trying to help them, they actually put more guilt upon it. And then this is just, then that's of course attacking it. This is low vibration, and then they probably feel bad, beat themselves up about it, so that's making them guilty, and they're doing the same thing over and over and over their whole life. And so many humans do this, and I've noticed a lot of the humans that have brought this up are older people that just have so much of this hidden anger, suppressed anger, that they never allowed to move through their system because they believed that it was wrong to feel that way or to do that. It's not wrong to feel anything. Every feeling we are meant to feel. And the most important thing is to feel it out. And some people, when they get angry, they cause a big scene. But honestly, that's better than suppressing it and then going on like that, because at least they're moving it out. What I would say is, what I find the optimal way is, when you feel that anger, let it move out of your body when you feel it. But instead of causing a scene in public, to move the anger out, if you need to move it out more, in private, in these ways that I'm sharing, through your voice, through physical things, through words. So these are some ways that we can get this out of our system, because the more anger we have in our system, the more we attract other people that are holding on to anger in their system. And this is not fun. This is because people who are angry, they are able to do some really nasty things. And so, yet at the same time, it's just a projection of how they are feeling. And that's the other thing, is that when someone is feeling this anger, they're not taking responsibility for their feelings. They are saying that something outside of them is causing this anger. And then that's when they, like, really, some unfortunate things can happen. So it's, the whole thing boils down to, when someone believes other things can be wrong, they will put guilt upon it. They will blame others for their feelings. all the while believing in this hurt, believing in this anger, and then it just comes out eventually. It's whatever is within us, it's all going to come out eventually. So notice how you feel, how you react or respond in different situations, what's coming up, and then you will have clues of what may be stored in your body. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just a part of the experience. And that's the big message coming through, is that there's nothing wrong with anything. This whole concept of wrong is what causes all this guilt, this anger, this attack, and the illness, the attracting others like this. It's just so much that we don't actually have to deal with if we choose to rise above duality and to see that all is source, all is love, all is light, all is innocent, all is just another aspect of ourselves, helping us to be more of us, which is joy, freedom, peace, abundance, prosperity, health, wealth, happiness, presence, on and on. Everything every human wanted. We're all just helping each other. So there is no reason to be guilt. So yeah. That is what came up today, and wow, it is huge for me just being able to see with this eagle eye view what I've been dealing with and how I attracted all of that. And it also inspires so much compassion within me for the ones that are holding on to this suppressed anger. Because they're fully have bought into the illusions, and when something doesn't feel good, it's letting us know that it's out of alignment. Yet most humans have no idea what their emotions are even sharing with them. All emotions that don't feel good let us know we are out of alignment. All emotions that do feel good let us know we are in alignment. So when people feel emotions that don't feel good, it's just indicating to them that they're out of alignment. Yet if they don't know that, and they form stories and beliefs and all of this stuff, yet the whole reason why they didn't feel good in the first place was to let them know you're believing in something that's not even true. You're believing in an illusion. And so when I see people holding this suppressed energy, they're just holding on to illusions, and they're believing in things that are not even true, and they're allowing that to make them feel things. They're allowing that to, the body is constantly also, if we don't get it in terms of what is in alignment or out of alignment, the body is showing us. And what happens is, what I've noticed with these kind of people is they'll have so many issues in the body, but instead of seeing their body as a helpful mirror, letting them know they're acting out of alignment, they blame the body. They put guilt upon the body, and it's this whole guilt again and again and again, and it just makes them sicker. And so this is how that goes. And as someone who has been letting go of all of that suppressed anger, I've noticed my body has just naturally come into greater and greater and greater and greater levels of health and harmony, well-being. It's amazing. And I provide some really exciting and awe-inspiring examples in my books of personal things that have happened as I release guilt and hurt and trauma and all that stuff, and how my body has changed as I heal my mental and emotional bodies. So the physical body it just catches up to the energy and the vibration, and it is reflecting also our levels of health in other areas. We could call it energetic health. So yeah, today's a big day. This was a big topic, and it's really exciting for me to share it, because this was one of those revelations that just knocked my socks off, and to me, this is a quantum leap whenever I have these types of revelations. And so we will see how things play out in the next days. But I intend that this message finds all who could benefit from it. And the big thing is to not fear these people holding on to anger. I know I mentioned they can be dangerous and this type of thing, but you're only going to experience what is best for you. So always trust that this is a vibrational reality, and your higher self is the one giving yay or nay. So you're only going to experience what is best for you. Yet the reason I say that is because I know how much anger I had, and how far I was from my true self, and it kind of gives me the heebie-jeebies to think that I was there, but that was the journey I chose, to go very far into the darkness, and then come into the light very fast. So this has been the fun part of the journey, and of course there were moments of joy, but this is very different. And there's a vision that's coming up that I've had for a long time, and this one is from my spirit guides, and it's a path, and this path represents my journey before awakening, and then after awakening, and then into the future. And so before awakening, it's like black, there's like lava, there's like, it's dark, it's all dark, there's danger all around. It's like a cave with lava, almost giving Super Mario vibes. But it is very dark, and there's no happy music. And then after I awakened, I went on to this more kind of like regular path in the city, but there's all these cracks, and it was all uneven, and sometimes there was big gaps in the path where I'd have to like build a bridge across, and then another crack, and I'd fall, and bruise my knee and have to get up, and random things would fly out and throw me off. And that path got nicer and more manageable as it went. And then how I see the future is, it's like this golden path that's completely flat, and it's just beauty all around. And this vision was to show me how it is when we live in 3D, which is like black, and lava and hard and just awful, and then into 4D when there was all the cracks, falling down, things flying out at me, different tests, different challenges, and having to build bridges, having to really get creative, and that getting better. And then as we move into 5D, it just gets more and more beautiful, and of course we'll go beyond even that. So yeah, this vision has been on my heart to share. I just didn't know the best time to share it, and it just came up right there. So I know that Spirit let me know that now is the time. So yeah, when we sense someone has this hidden anger, we can remember that they are in those dark caves with the lava all around, and we can have compassion for them. And so we can love them from a distance, and we can also ask our higher self if there is anything we can help or any way we can support them, and go from there. And we can also trust that if we trigger them, and we probably will because we had that program as well, and so we are an example of someone who's moved past it, so it would be a perfect mirror, that when we trigger them, to not put guilt upon ourselves and continue doing that thing with ourselves anymore. That if we trigger them, we say, okay, good job. I did what I am meant to do here on planet Earth. I provided that person a mirror. Their higher self appreciates me. Their higher self loves me, accepts me. Their higher self has zero anger, has never been angry, has never put any guilt upon anyone. And now their human will grow because of that experience. And if they don't, well, that's on them. That's none of our business. And continue on, and to feel good about being that mirror, because in that moment we are living our purpose. We are being that living example for others. Because if we start getting small and putting guilt upon ourselves, we're just reinforcing that what they're doing is the best thing. And then we're not only hindering ourselves, but we're hindering the person that we could have helped. So it's time to rise above that, and to feel good when someone else is triggered, or if someone else feels jealous, or if you can feel someone else throwing guilt at you energetically. Just be like, oh, I did my job. I have been of service, the greatest service I could be, to be my true self, to be that example, and to show others the way, that they don't have to hold on to anger anymore, that they don't have to believe in guilt anymore, that they too can be free. And I will leave it at that, my friends. Thank you so much for watching, and wishing you a beautiful day. Much love.